China, 3rd century BC. A philosophical book of great importance is released, named after its author, Han Feizi, most well known as a legalist philosopher who played no small part in China's history. His political doctrine would go on to help the Qin dynasty prosper in its conquest and way of administration. Though the ruthless application of his philosophy made the dynasty short-lived, one can't deny its impact. He is almost entirely unknown in the West, yet his book is credited as the origin of a certain morality tale. There was once a man who sold shields and spears, boasting of how his spears were so sharp that nothing would dent them. Of his shields he boasted similarly, saying they were so solid that nothing could pierce them. When asked what would happen if one were to stab one of these shields with his spears, the man was unable to respond. In the West, this is commonly known as the irresistible force paradox. What happens when the unstoppable force meets with the immovable object? Well, I'm here to tell you that we're upping the stakes. Because what none of these philosophers could have anticipated was the strongest of forces, extreme force. So we are opening it up to try to unlock its diabolical secrets. Find out what kind of philosophical mysteries we might solve today. The first mystery it will reveal to us is Borel Cooling, which features some sort of artwork of anthropomorphic missile robot thing with a weird tail, and it looks like it's getting shiny inside some sort of dishwasher or something. Tribute one rocket monster, then target one Borel link monster you control, equip it with this card. If this card is equipped to a monster by this effect, the equipped monster gains this effect. Once per turn, quick effect, you can target one monster you control. It cannot be destroyed by battle or card effect this turn. And to be honest, I'm probably not gonna use this. I mean, it's tied to way too many different monster types that I just don't have in my deck.
Easy come, easy go.
And next up we've got Ghost Trick Renovation, which looks like something right out of an Addams Family movie. Target one Ghost Trick field spell in your field zone, return it to the hand, then you can activate one field spell from your hand or deck, you can banish this card from your GY, then target one Ghost Trick Xyz monster you control. I'm just gonna stop you right there, because Ghost Trick monsters and field zone spells, I don't think I'll be getting those. Moving on to the next one, we've got FA City Grand Prix, which shows off some anime character with a bunch of cybernetic holograms looking at some sort of racetrack on a table. And it's a field spell card. Increase the levels of all FA monsters on the field by 2 during the main phase and battle phase. Your opponent cannot target FA monsters you control with card effects. If this phase up card on the field is destroyed by a card effect, you can add one FA card from your deck to your hand, except FA City Grand Prix. You can only use this effect of FA City Grand Prix once per turn. And in terms of field spell cards, I would say this is a pretty cool one, although once again I hate to sound like a broken record, but I'm just not interested in FA monsters. I've already locked into ninjas, fiends and warriors and all that stuff. It's not you, FA City Grand Prix, it's me. And next on the list we have Mech Knight Green Horizon, who indeed does look like some sort of mechanical knight with a bunch of green light and emeralds coming from him. He's a 6-star psychic monster with 21,000 attack and 16,000 defense. If 2 or more cards are in the same column, you can special summon this card from your hand in that column. You can only special summon Mech Knight Green Horizon once per turn this way. When an attack is declared involving this card and an opponent's monster in this card's column, you can target one Mech Knight monster in your GY, add it to your hand. That's a pretty unique ability that he has. And while he's not necessarily what I'm hoping to find in this deck, it's at least enough to put him on my radar. Got my eye on you, Mech Knight. And next we've got Mythical Beast Medusa. And boy oh boy, it does not quite look like the kind of Medusa I envisioned. It looks more like some sort of ghost octopus except with wolves for tentacles.
That's just crazy, man.
It's a 4-star spellcaster with 1500 attack and 1500 defense. As a pendulum spell card, it has the effect of, if you have no card in your other pendulum zone, you can target one monster in your GY that you can place a spell counter on, destroy this card, and if you do, special summon that monster. And if you do that, place one spell counter on it. You can only use this effect of Mythical Beast Medusa once per turn. And as for its monster effect, each time a spell card is activated, place one spell counter on this card when that spell resolves. Once per turn, during the battle phase, quick effect, you can remove 2 spell counters from your field, then target one face-up monster on the field. Its attack and defense become half its current attack and defense until the end of this turn. So sadly it looks like I can't really make use of its spell effect, but at the same time, as a 4-star monster I can easily summon it. It could have a use as a pendulum summoning card, and its regular monster effect is also something that I might be able to use. So it's not much, but at least it's something. I'd keep my eye on you, Medusa, if I wasn't afraid I'd turn to stone. Moving right along, we've got Ghost Bird of Bewitchment, which depicts some sort of ghost goose and kinda looks like an Iron Maiden album cover if they were really into birds. A 4-star winged beast with 13,000 attack and 15,000 defense. And oh dear, it's got a whole list of effects. This card gains an effect based on your main monster zone it is in. Leftmost gains 1000 attack and defense. Rightmost can make up to 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase. Center, your opponent cannot target this card with card effects, also it cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. And in any other zone, monsters in this column cannot activate their effects. And that's some crazy utility. Extremely useful in that it could adapt to a lot of different scenarios. So I'll definitely be keeping my eye on you, little ghost bird. Next up we've got Link Hole. Just a bunch of poor sods falling through a big hole in the ceiling down onto some cybernetic spikes on the floor. If you control a Link 4 or higher monster, destroy monsters your opponent controls, up to the number of Link 3 or higher monsters you control. You can only activate one Link Hole per turn. Should I get some actual Link monsters that are 4 or higher, this might be a useful card. Perhaps a Link monster will show up in the next few cards, we don't know yet. We will, however, know what this new card is. Dangled Hound. Got another Dangle, got another Dangle. And it looks kinda like some sort of enemy you'd fight in a Mass Effect game. A whopping 7-star fiend monster with an attack of 2500. Like the previous Dangle card I got, he's also a flip monster. And the flip effect would be you can target one other face-up monster on the field. This card gains attack equal to that target's original attack, then change that target to face down defense position. Each monster your opponent controls loses 1000 attack for each monster linked to it. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the GY, you can target one face down monster on the field, change it to face up defense position. That flip effect seems pretty risky though, considering the fact that it's got 0 defense points. High risk, high reward, this one. I'll have to take into great consideration how well it works together with all the other monsters and cards that I have. Last but not the least, we got Yokozuna Sumo Spirit. I'm guessing he's related to Kaiden, except of course in this case we are dealing with a big red spiky sumo robot. It's a 5-star pendulum warrior monster. Its spell effect is that if a monster is pendulum summoned, return this card from the pendulum zone to the hand. And as for its monster effect, when this card is normal summoned, you can send to the GY all monsters your opponent controls in the same column as the cards in your pendulum zones. Once per turn during the end phase, if this card was normal summoned or flipped face up this turn, return this card to the hand. And it's also got a cool attack attack of 2400 and defense of 1000. Just like Kaiden, he seems to have the same kind of effects and the same pros and cons. And if the pros didn't outweigh the cons last time, I'm not sure if it will this time either. With all that done, now it's time to make a choice. First of all, Ghost Bird of Bewitchment. I mean, as a goose, he's the most metal of all gooses you'll ever see. And as I said, all of his abilities make him very adaptable, not to mention that if I put him in the leftmost monster zone, he instantly becomes a monster with 2300 attack. Sounds like a good deal to me. The next choice is gonna be a hard one. Frankly, all of these cards have plenty of ups and downs and the potential to just be dead cards in my hand. The Medusa has some nice effects but relies on counters and is kinda weak in terms of attack and defense. The Mech Knight is tempting and pretty strong, yet it relies a lot on my opponent's card placement. And also I don't have any other Mech Knights. And this new Tin Dangle monster requires 2 tributes. And while there are cards in my deck that would support this hound, it's not clear if the hound itself can support the rest of my deck. Well, maybe it's a stupid choice, but we're gonna stick with the Tin Dangles. He is inherently high risk, high reward, so the only way that I could actually reap those rewards is by taking that risk. So, what did we learn today? When extreme force meets with the immovable object, you get a ghost bird and a weird alien hound. I, for one, feel enlightened. And that about wraps up this episode. Hope you all stay safe out there, and I'll catch you later.